It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Matt and Britt sitting at a desk griping about video games for 2 hours.
Yay!
Hi. Da 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 da. Xbox sucks.
Oh my god.
Hello and welcome to Game Over Cast episode 40. I'm Matt, and this is the second time I've done this.
Hi, I'm Steve. Nice to meet you.
The best part is that
I'm not
joke
really Steve.
was cut out, so
It
you'll never know
was.
what it meant.
No.
It's great.
No.
So tell me, Britt, how are you doing today? It's a cold day. I love cold days.
It's a nice day.
It's a nice day for,
I wish the winter
for redoing intros.
would be forever. I'm sorry. Okay. I
Let's
messed
see.
it up,
Where
man.
were we? Oh, yes. So, hello. Welcome. Episode 40. This is Game Over Cast episode 40, which
40.
is nice.
I cannot believe it is actually 40.
I'm pretty sure
It's
we're
crazy.
wrong. I'm pretty sure at some point we miscounted. We miscalculated. There's just a...
So do you think there are more episodes or less?
I don't know.
I'm going to go for more.
I'm going to say more that there's a phantom episode somewhere. Like somewhere on the list of the stream, there's like 2 episode 19s. But I don't know.
You know what? That's probably true.
Probably is. And I'm okay with that. It's fine.
Let's just forever just be like, welcome to episode 40.
Yes, exactly.
Even 40 episodes from now.
Eternally 27.
You're reliving the same episode.
I mean, people kind of do that anyways when they listen to us. I mean, it's kind of what we do.
Kind of. We talk about a lot of the
They're
same
like,
stuff.
oh, look, it's Matt and Britt. I bet they're going to argue about Nintendo and talk about robots.
And talk about movies.
And Britt's gonna talk
'Cause we
about
always
Mylon
talk
Secret
about
Castle.
movies. And Mylon Secret Castle as well. That's a thing.
tradition.
Because it's amazing.
Tradition.
Tradition.
You know, I've often thought to myself that if only I were a rich man, I wouldn't have to do a podcast with a blank wall and a banner. Yada dee 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 dee.
I love this blank wall and a banner, okay? It's a
Why are
great
you
blank
referring
wall
to
and
me
banner.
as a blank wall?
No, I meant
I'm
like,
not that dumb.
I meant like behind you.
Like, you know, my favorite part about you is that you're like a blank canvas that literally everything bounces off. Rocks, ideas, water. It's great.
No, that's not what I meant.
You know, the best part is this was really our second take at the intro. And
It was.
I've succeeded at making it worse.
He did.
Oh, by the way, you may be noticing right now if you're watching...
Round 3.
If you're watching the
Just kidding.
video and not listening to the... If you're listening, just ignore the next, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes. We have a second camera now, Brittany.
Woot, woot,
which means
woot,
I
woot.
can do this. Would you like to know more? Da-da-da-da-da. Isn't that great?
That's pretty
I'm so
cool.
excited. It may have stopped recording right now because I'm not sure how long it records. It's one of those cameras that you can't be plugged into an AC adapter while it's playing. So it could have already stopped at this rate.
Hey, I'm pleased. I don't have to edit it. I'm good.
Yeah, I do.
You're the one that has to edit it, so
But if
it's
it works,
fine.
great. If not, great. Whatever. I mean, it's not going to improve the overall quality that much, and it can't make it worse. We just look like goblins. It's like they live through that camera. It's like, hello,
That would be so cool.
consume more video games.
That would be so cool.
It would be. I agree. Anyways, let us proceed with now playing. Brittany's going to go first because Brittany has a story.
I have a story.
A wonderful story.
Okay, but But once you hear the story, you will definitely understand. So,
No, they won't.
unfortunately, in a few weeks, I have to get my wisdom teeth taken out.
Good old clamp and yank, kids.
I am not excited about it. I feel like every day I am one step closer to a nervous breakdown, and I'm not kidding. I have a huge dental phobia. I hit the mic.
So much. She's also afraid of microphones, getting ever closer
Apparently.
to her mouth.
Really, though, I am super afraid of the dentist, and I go every 6 months. It's awesome. It's hard. You know, they have to put the...
Brush your teeth, kid.
I mean, I do,
And
but...
adults. I'm just
But
saying.
yes, do
Public
so.
service
It's
announcement by Game Over
important.
Cast. Brush your teeth.
Even if you're super scared of the dentist like me, I still go every 6 months.
Also, always wear pants. They don't appreciate that.
Just a little. They always gas me whenever I go, even for cleaning. I'm just that paranoid about
Walk
it.
in the door.
And I've talked about this before because I had to have a root canal like 2 years ago?
It was a while ago.
Or was it last year?
It was about a year and a half.
I think it was like a year and a half ago to 2 years ago. And yeah, I talked about how scared I was on that too. But this is like a whole different thing. I'm super terrified. And then I keep going back and forth like, do I want to be asleep? Do I not want to be asleep? At least if I'm not asleep, I know that I'm not in pain. But I guess I know, like, you know, because they
And
numb
mind you,
you.
this whole time she's calling me at like 4 in the
Yes.
morning to be like,
and
hey,
crying.
Are you asleep? Yes. Okay, great. I'm glad you're not sleeping. Let me talk about teeth. Like, oh.
I just need to. I need to get it out. And I
also,
definitely.
For perspective, I've had full-blown surgery, like at the hospital, like legit recovery period stuff. So I'm like, shut up.
It's no big deal.
It's not bad. They're giving you a Valium, for crying out loud.
Yeah,
it's okay.
they are. They were like, okay,
you seem a little stressed.
We're going to give you this. So whenever you come to the office, you'll be okay. I definitely need it because I'm freaking out.
So I do have a question.
Mm-hmm.
What does this have to do with video games?
Anyway, so because I am freaking out so much, and it is so... I am actually freaking out so much that I don't know if you can see it on camera, but I started causing myself to break out.
You mean you aren't going through puberty?
No, I'm
like
not.
Second puberty? Is that like second breakfast? For hobbits like you?
That is the worst, though. If that was the thing, that would be the worst. It feels like it.
You get even hairier.
It really feels like it, and it's like all over my face. Not pleasant. I had to buy medicine for it and like put on medicine every single day.
Aren't you glad we have a second camera now?
Oh my God. No. Anyway.
Sorry.
So I decided that I needed to throw myself into something to get my mind off of the surgery.
And a brick wall was not on the list.
Throwing myself off a bridge is not an option,
there are a lot of bridges
unfortunately.
Here, and most of them are pretty low. It's like into a creek. It's like you've thrown yourself off a bridge.
So
3 feet.
I have my art, of course, and I'm like I'm pumping out more pieces every day, which
Shameless
I feel really
self-promotion.
Yeah, which I feel really good about. I'm like, yeah, I'm knocking it out, and it does take my mind off of things for a little while. And I started replaying Breath of the Wild. Which is a beautiful game. If you've been listening to the podcast, I freaking love Zelda. Zelda is the best. I own every Zelda system. My love for Zelda runs deep.
Can I just cut in here?
Yeah, you can.
So I've been watching this spectacle. I feel like we should sell tickets.
Oh my God, I have forgotten everything.
It's like you forgot how to play a video game.
And it is terrible.
Like, I need to make you play something else to check that.
No, I promise.
Because you're really good at Zelda games. And you're just kind of like,
I actually am. But for some reason, I'm like, wait, how do I pull my sword out again?
It's a really cool
how do I switch to
study
bombs?
on how stress affects your cognitive ability.
That's so true.
Because I'll be like, Britt, you need to pull out your bow and you'll jump. I'm like, no, Britt, your bow, and you'll jump again. I'm like, that button doesn't change.
And it's funny because even though it is succeeding in taking my mind off of things, I feel like I still feel like that underlying stress.
No, it's the game stressing.
So I feel like I am projecting. English is hard, guys. I feel like I am projecting that into the game. Anyway, so I'm terrible.
So you didn't, because I'm going to do something here, y'all. You didn't do all the shrines in your first playthrough. Like, you didn't do most of them. You just did what you had to do, and that was it, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so there's one shrine which will either make you rip your hair out or be painfully easy if you do the trick. There's I'm gonna explain to you guys. You find folks who have played Zelda.
Yeah, because I probably have not.
It's the one where it's the motion puzzle with the ball, and you have to. You know what I'm talking about? Where you do the platform. I'm not gonna tell her how to do it easily.
No, I did that shrine.
You did that one?
Yeah.
Did you do it the right way?
Yeah.
Or did you cheat?
Well, what's the cheating way?
You flip it upside down, and it's a flat platform. You just roll it where it needs to go. No. You did the one with the whatchamacallits. There's a lot of ball shrines. There's a specific one though that you haven't done in this playthrough yet because I've been watching. Unless you did it without me earlier.
No, I didn't.
You did the one where it's the weights.
It's still the tilting.
Yeah, that's not the one.
And the ball comes, and you have to like tilt it the right way to get it in the.
No.
Okay.
It's something else entirely.
So it's a different one.
Yeah, it's a take on a real world like toy puzzle that people use, but it's a real pain in the butt. And but you can cheat to make it super easy. And I'm thinking of not telling you how to make it super easy and just watching, possibly recording to show
I don't
other
know,
people.
because when we play other puzzle games, this is actually really interesting about us. The puzzles that are, and this was very, very much obvious when we did, not only Portal, but when we played Catherine. Because remember, we would switch off with Catherine as well, which is a fantastic game. Can't wait for that remaster. But
on PC now, by the way, which is nice.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. Oh, that's cool. So the puzzles that were hard for you were easy for me, and the puzzles that were easy for me were hard for you. So I'm curious to see if I'm going to think this puzzle is hard or not.
Yeah. Well, this one, it's dependent on your mechanical ability and the Switch's motion controls, which, in my opinion, still ain't that hot. Which that's kind of what angered me with it. Like if I had it in my hands, I feel as though I would have been much better with it. We'll just have to see. But I also love that because it sounds really nice. Like different people are intelligent in their own ways. I just feel like you and me are both really stupid in our own magical, kind of avenue. But I guess you could look at it in a more positive way if you want to. Like people are just uniquely dumb, and it's wonderful.
Oh wow!
And somehow we get through the world together. Like I said, there are some times with people where I don't know how they get through the day.
Oh my God!
Like brief public service announcements. Okay, parents, please teach your children to look both ways when they cross the street.
That would be smart.
Or when you're in a parking lot, let's say. Occasionally, people don't pay attention, and bad things happen. Don't let that be your kids. Be responsible. So I'm going to say, I'm not going to highlight specifics or say Walmart, where it was or anything like that. I'm just going to say, please, don't just trust people all the time. Like if someone's driving, they might be on a cell phone. They might be arguing with someone. They might be inebriated in some form or fashion. I wouldn't just walk out into the street and expect someone to stop. And then when you look at them and they're like, "Why you had to stop for me?" I'm like, I didn't have to stop for you. Anyway, sorry. Hi. Hi. Welcome to Game Over.
That's true. You never know if the other person is paying attention.
That's right. Just to be safe.
Valid. Valid. Okay.
But you were playing Zelda, and that's
This
feeding
is
your
life
soul
lessons.
right now.
Game Overcast. Bye.
No kidding.
Good night.
Quick anecdote cast.
Right.
So me, I've been doing a couple things. It's all you were doing.
Yep, that's basically it.
Okay, cool. So I'm doing two things specifically while I'm waiting for Anthem to come out in like 2 weeks. Because Anthem is playable, the VIP demo, which is available for everyone who's pre-ordered the game, if I'm not mistaken anyways.
That one actually looks really good.
And it's getting so much grief. And it makes me mad. But anyways.
Because it looks like Destiny.
It does. It looks like Destiny.
But Destiny is great. So play it.
Yeah, Destiny is fantastic. But anyways, that goes live on February 2nd, the early demo. A full 20 days before the game actually launches. So I'm going to be all over that. People are going to be playing Kingdom Hearts. I don't care. I'm going to play with robots.
You're going to play Kingdom Hearts, though.
Maybe.
At the very least, you're going to see me play Kingdom Hearts.
I'm going to see you playing it, so I'm not going to rush out to get it myself because you're going to have it. But anyways, so while I wait for that, I've been playing a ton of Just Shapes and Beats, which we touched on the last show. I beat the whole game now, and now I'm working on unlocking all the extra songs because you get points for getting better ranks in the challenge mode to unlock other songs, including the Mortal Kombat theme, which I haven't gotten yet, but I've played it because in the challenge mode you just play random songs, including songs you haven't unlocked yet. It's real hard. It's real hard, but I love that game. We talked about it before where you're just a shape in a level and you have to dodge stuff.
It's actually surprisingly fun.
Yeah.
And the music is amazing.
Glorious,
I love the music.
Glorious music. Yeah, it's all so good. And it's I think it has a wonderful replayability because you can do it with co-op. You can get the perfect runs and everything. And I've talked before about my obsession with kind of bullet hell rhythm music games, a la Rez and Child of Eden and stuff like that. They're all really good, and I play them way too much, but I love them. So I'm playing the crap out of this and making other people play it to the point where when I close my eyes, I see pink and blue squares and things moving
coming
by.
at you.
It's horrible. Like I can't play it and go driving because it's like blah, blah. It's not good. It's not good at all. I am also playing a game called Ashen. Ashen is Dark Souls. We'll just get that right out of the way.
With no face.
It's Dark Souls where you're, what are they called? Anatomical models? Is that what they're? Well, you're an artist. You should freaking know.
Oh, like those little
the little wooden models.
I just call them drawing dolls.
Oh, it's the models that artists use where it's like a little wooden or like a little plastic frame where it's got a little head and stuff. And it looks like every character is that, but with hair. So no one has faces. It's weird. You can have clothing and hair and a little mustache.
Excuse me.
It's a very minimalist kind of game. It's very, very pretty. It's Dark Souls. For lack of a better term. It's Dark Souls, but I get more of a kind of a positive vibe from it. Where Dark Souls is very like end of the world and everyone's sad and everyone's going to die. This is still very end of the world, but it's got more of kind of like a positive, optimistic look where the people are banding together to make their lives a better thing and to rebuild the city. Like as you go, there's a main area called Vagrant's Rest, I think is what it's called. And it starts off as like a campfire and some homeless people and a stack of wood and just not good. But as you progress throughout the game, they start building, constructing buildings and adding on to other things. And as you go, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and it becomes a full, fledged town, this thriving town full of people. And it's nice. It's kind of it's more of an optimistic thing, where in Dark Souls, you're screwed and everyone's all for themselves. That's the way it goes. This has a kind of opposite look where people actually work together and quit needlessly hating each other. Maybe things weren't so bad after all. So that's nice also.
That's
and
really
then it's
cool.
Dark Souls.
I like that. So is it co-op? Can you actually
Yep,
play?
the co-op's
that's
kind
really
of lame.
awesome.
I'm going to go ahead and say it though, because in this game in co-op, if you have coughed a couple times, are you good?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
good.
If you've passed a certain point in the story by defeating a dungeon, you cannot co-op with anybody else, which is lame. So me and my friend, we're playing the game. We have to play the game completely together. Otherwise, we'll desync, so to speak. So that's kind of lame, but the game itself is super awesome. It really likes bludgeoning weapons. We've yet to get a sword. We've gotten lots of clubs and lots
interesting.
of sticks and lots of axes. Not one sword.
Huh.
It's weird. So I just have this really big hammer where it's like Thor's hammer but with a long handle. And I just beat the crap out of stuff. It has a big play on light also, where the dungeons are really dark and you have to have your lantern out. So you have to have a one-handed weapon with your lantern and you go along. I like the mechanic. It's dumb because you could just light your lantern and put it on your freaking hip. And you do that when you climb a ladder, but you can't have it on your hip when you're walking around. So I get why they're doing it. I just wish they had a better reason for why you were doing it. It's stupid, but you can also put your lantern down and then pull out your big weapon. So if you see something coming, you can like drop it and then be like, all right, let's go, bro. And you have this like really cool light source amidst the void of black death full of skeletons and these weird things with like chest tentacles. And it's there's some creepy monsters considering it's such a minimalistic looking game. It's really cool looking. I definitely recommend it. If you like
That's
Dark Souls
probably why
games-
it's creepy, because it's like basic stuff and then you're letting your imagination fill in
Yep,
the rest,
very
which
much
I
so.
really like. I mean, that's the best way to do
Nice
it.
sound effects, very nice sound effects. Like the weapons, they sound really good. Like the larger, heavy weapons, which is usually what I use, they have this really satisfying ka-thunks. And then they have a when you hit the walls of the ground.
Sorry.
I know I'm so boring.
No, you're not.
I'm used to it from you though. It's fine. This just really big, like echoing, like crunches against the stone, and it's lots of hidden stuff everywhere, and it's nice. You still can't swim, which pisses me off because you fall in the water, you have a drowning meter. Your stamina meter runs out, and it says that you're drowning. That's stupid. Why do we still do these Dark Souls games? Thankfully, Sekiro, which is more Tenchu than Dark Souls, you can actually swim. Oh, thank God. Because I've died 2 or 3 times and lost all my my souls, or in this case, just like money. It's called scoria.
Yeah.
Because I fell into a pool of water and there was nowhere to climb out, so you're just dead in the water. And that's it.
Oh,
It's
that's
like, well, that's
awful.
lame. All right. Because in this world, we're all
So
made
you
of
can't
balsa
swim
wood.
at all?
No.
Or you can only be in there for a little bit of
You
time?
can only be in there for a little while, and you can kind of like go, yeah, towards the shore. But if you don't make it to the shore by the end of that period, you just sink.
Huh.
It's kind of like in Zelda when you're in a 4-foot pool of water, but you run out of stamina, so you drown in 4 feet of water.
Oh, yeah. I hate
You wouldn't know
that.
anything about that, would you?
Oh, that drives me crazy. I'm like, but I'm right there on the edge.
It's like
I
this-
could stand
You can
up.
stand in the water, Link. Man, it's great. But so that's what I'm playing right now. Real good. A whole lot of fun. Typical Souls gameplay. So, going into it, this is what it is. It starts off really easy, and the difficulty kind of jumps. It's neat because you always have a partner, where if you aren't playing, well, you don't always, but you're supposed to always have a partner.
So you have an AI partner?
Yeah, an AI partner
That's
follows you
interesting.
around. And even if you're playing co-op, your co-op partner takes on the look of the AI partner. So you don't know what your partner actually has and who they actually are, and they're like their player customizations. They just look like one of the AI like story partners. And that's how you look to them. So it's cool. I'd like them to change the co-op so you could join up whenever. So if I want to play the game, I have to wait for Joe to freaking catch up to me, or vice versa. But it's
Yeah.
fine. But yes, that is what I am now playing. Shall we get into some video game news?
Yes.
As I get clearly more excited from our first news point here. Brittany, would you like to talk about it?
There's a new Gundam game.
Yeah! They are announcing a new Gundam game on January 22nd.
Which is funny that I say it like that because I love the Gundam games. Gundam versus Zeta Gundam for the PS2 is still one of my favorite all-time games.
It's glorious.
Awesome. Or all-time favorite games. Whatever.
From what I've seen, know nothing about it other than it's going to be a new game. That's it. We're going to announce it on the 22nd. I mean, I know you didn't seriously think I wasn't going to talk about it. Like, come on, guys.
I know you. I know.
It's going to be a thing. But
is it going to be a fighting game?
No idea. My hope is that it's not. I really hope that at this point that it's anything but a Versus title, a Breaker title, or a freaking Dynasty Warriors title. Like something else. You know, we talked about this on, I'm not sure if it's the last show or the show about that, but there hasn't been a truly epic scale Gundam game. Like there was a couple decent ones, like, you know, Journey to Jaburo was okay, and then the PS1 Gundam, I forget what it was called, but I think it was only Japanese. So there were some decent games.
And those weren't
those were good. Like they weren't versus. They were campaigny things.
Because I haven't played anything like that. I've only played
like even Federations versus Xeon and versus Zeta Gundam had campaigns that were cool. You could play specific missions and kill AI things. Versus Zeta Gundam had a little bit less. It had the campaign where you do stories, but it was less. Like versus Federation versus Xeon specifically, you'd have suits and they would get damaged, and you'd have to like leave them out for the next mission while they got repaired. Then you'd get new suits with different abilities and different specs and stuff like that. There's yet to be a grand scale Gundam game on next gen consoles. You know, there was a couple for PS3, the Unicorn one that we never got, but that I have. The Gundam Side Stories, which is actually really cool, but it's hard to play because it's not in English. That goes into a lot of the cool UC side stories about like the Ifrit Schneid, some of the weird Gundams that were never actually talked about in canon. But we never got those. And then for PS4, there's only been Versus and the Breaker series, which is fine, but Versus is meh. Breaker, up until the new Breaker, was good, but it was, you know, it was still kind of Dynasty Warriors with collecting and building. I want legit mecha combat. I want Armored Core Gundam. You know, something awesome. You know, you have these very powerful consoles and PCs now, Bandai, that you're making games for. Do something good. You know, do something awesome. Like give me something crazy. Give me a Gundam Wing game. You know,
interesting.
Or give me here. Let's just go crazy. Right? Make a new universe specific to the game.
That would be cool.
Like, da 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 da.
You know, I mean,
because they're doing.
If I got something else that was like Zeta Gundam, I would be happy. I love that game. The game is so good. I feel like it doesn't need to be fixed. I wish they would remaster that one, actually.
That would be nice.
So good.
They've turned it into the regular Versus series, so they won't. But
that's a shame.
Because Iron Blooded Orphans is getting a continuation, and it's tied into an app that has a game like part of it now. The details are still kind of sketchy because they're all in Japanese and not fully revealed, but. So you can make a game and make an in-universe series, and that's fine. That would be awesome.
That'd be kind of nifty.
It feels like Bandai, you know, Gundam's one of their prized series, and they're afraid to do anything different with it. They'll just do the kind of like cheap and easy crap.
The stuff that they know sells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though Breaker was garbage and didn't sell very well because it was a terrible game.
Yeah, that one was not that good. I'm going to be real.
And they fixed the technical problems finally, like 6-8 months later, but it's still fundamentally just not a good game. Like, I'm just not going to play it because it's not. I'll play Breaker 3 some more. But I want me some more, like, I would love, personally, another Zeonic Front game where it was Rainbow Six with mobile suits. That was great because you were all grunt suits, so you weren't with the beam cannons and the lasers and the blah, blah, blah.
But that's the best part.
But it was cool because you were a nitty-gritty robot in a squad of other guys, and you could order commands, and if you killed a Gundam, which would show up, you had to be really good because he would kill you in one shot, but you like he had the plot armor, so you had to like circle around and do it. But it was really good. I'm stuttering because I'm a nerd. Deal.
You know what? I would take another MS Saga.
Fancy pants. Hey. Well, you have those games kind of with like the SD Gundam G Generation series, which is on PS4 and Switch. Not in English on Switch, but it's available. The Chinese version has English on the PS4.
There was a PS4 release of an SD Gundam?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, it's like Super Robot Wars with dozens of Gundam suits though. Like awesome, like obscure, what the heck is this?
I will have to look into that.
It's great. I want the Switch version to have English, but they just have no plans to release that in the Asian market with English subtitles, which pisses me off. But Super Robot Wars, as we talked about on the last show, will. So that's great. But yeah, new Gundam game announced on the 22nd, which is in a couple days. You know, this goes live on the 15th. It's still like a week after this goes live. We'll find out. We'll find out by the next show.
Sweet.
I will be talking about it. Unless it's awful.
Yes,
which
you
I'll
will.
just ignore it and walk away. Like, new Gundam game, and it's a mobile game where you have to, like, you know, pull cards to get different Gundam waifus and all this crap. Which I'd probably play and pay for, but whatever. Don't judge me.
I know you would.
Don't judge me. Moving along, we have Bungie and Activision. Have you heard about this?
I have, very briefly.
So Bungie has officially left Activision. Bungie is now their own company. They're going to self-publish.
But, I think that's really interesting because I feel like Bungie is a big enough company that they can, blah, 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 English is hard, company that they can be on their own. They can publish their own games.
Definitely.
Their name will carry them. So I've always wondered why they decided to partner with Activision in the first place. Yeah, I suppose.
A lot of money. And then I've said this before, Bungie is very George Lucas, where they have a lot of great ideas and they just suck at implementing them by themselves. So I've got to say, everyone's like, oh, thank God, Bungie can make Destiny they always wanted now. I'm like, you realize that Bungie screwed up Destiny 2 pretty much by themselves, right? Like, most of the bad
love
choices
Destiny
in Destiny
2.
2. Yes, but initially when it came out, they made a lot of bad choices. They got rid of a lot of the stuff. Like, Forsaken is good because it made it more like Destiny 1. A lot of the stuff they took out of Destiny 2, they put back into it in Forsaken. Which is great that it's a good game. We've talked about this, but it's terrible we had to wait a year and pay an extra $40 to get that. So Bungie made those mistakes themselves. That wasn't Activision making them be stupid. They're just not very good at making games.
Well, obviously, there's some type of animosity there. Because I feel like if it was if two companies merged and it was working really well,
yeah.
I feel like there would be no reason to split.
Well, Activision was definitely driving them to make more profits and everything, which
is understandable
is a
because
business thing to do.
At the end of the day, they're still a business. They still have to make money. But also, if you are choosing that over creative freedom or over the quality of your games, then I would say I understand why they would want to split.
Because if there's no balance, I hate to say this, but you need to have someone telling you to make the darn game, or then you have Blizzard, which never makes a game. Thankfully, I gotta say, I say this thankfully, Activision has told them to put up or shut up and start making games, which people are like, oh, that means Blizzard's gonna make a bunch of horrible games. Like, Blizzard makes, like, we've talked about this, Blizzard hasn't made a really, really, really solid original game in a very long time. Like, Overwatch was great, but it was just a team shooter. It didn't do anything different. It just polished the idea very well. I think someone needs to be like, Blizzard, shut up, make Diablo 4, or make anything else. Like, we don't need you to scrap the idea a dozen times, all right? You aren't some, like, artiste. You're a business.
I mean, I get that, but at the same time, that's how they've always done things. They've always taken the time that they felt that they needed to create their games and to make them right and to be up to their standards. And I can appreciate that. Like, as a consumer, as an artist, whatever, I can definitely appreciate that. I know where they're coming from, and I know that when I buy one of their games, I'm going to get a great quality game.
Diablo 3 at launch.
What was wrong with Diablo 3?
Everything.
What?
Let's talk about how it didn't work.
That's not true.
Let's talk about the cash shop they created. Let's talk about how Blizzard single-handedly created the loot box.
The auction house thing doesn't count. You know what? What's funny? I have totally forgotten about that. But it was a good idea.
A lot of people have. No, it was a terrible idea. It was a terrible idea for the integrity of them, because you could buy with cash better weapons.
Okay.
It's not good.
Yeah, that's true.
Just like the loot box idea. It's a horrible idea that everyone has adopted now.
Yeah. Okay.
You have Daddy Blizzard to thank for that.
I take it back.
And nobody else. It's scary when you think about it.
Yeah. I was going to try to counter, but no.
I'm a huge Blizzard fanboy, where I've played and enjoyed almost every Blizzard game since, Lost Vikings and the DC Superheroes fighting game for SNES, like,
Well, I was going to say, both of us own every edition of Diablo. We bought it on PC. We bought it on PlayStation 3. We bought it on PlayStation 4.
3 specifically.
Diablo 3.
I also own 1 and 2, but you're talking about 3 and all of its many iterations. Yes.
Because 3 has been re-released so many times.
Because where it is now, it's finally a good game. But at launch, it was not good. It was not good at all.
But what I'm saying is, we are huge fans. We have bought it for every single. We recently bought it for the Switch. So.
Well, I was going to say, this is coming from me, who is a huge Blizzard fanboy. They're not in a good place right now. Their president left. last year and is officially gone. Like, he's not even an advisor anymore. He's just gone.
Okay, but sometimes people retire. I don't feel like that means that they're in dire trouble or something is going on internally.
I agree.
I don't think that's the case.
It's also just the executives that they're losing and them being told to downsize and immediately dropping Heroes of the Storm. And it's not one thing. It's a series of things. That's what we're still talking about Activision here, because now, almost immediately after Bungie and Activision announced the split, they have come under investigation for fraud. And right off top, this could be nothing. It could be absolutely nothing. It could be just someone who lost some money because Activision stocks went down a good clip after the announcement, because that's one of their only big franchises left, because they lost Skylanders. Skylanders kind of petered out, so they closed that down. Now they're having some issue with Blizzard's franchises making money, because they expected to have much more come from Diablo Eternal, and it didn't. It got a big old backlash that we won't talk about again, but it's definitely there.
But whenever that does release, it's going to do well.
And we're not going to talk about it. I said we weren't going to talk about it, but
I know.
Regardless,
but it is.
Their stocks plummeted.
But
after
I get
that.
it.
So then they took another nosedive after the split. So it could just be some stockholders concerned as to the quality of the management, or there's some. I beg your pardon. Sorry. There is, all this is, mind you, hearsay, because there's not official word, because this literally just came out yesterday, as to whether or not, the split was fully legit and fully announced properly, because it just happened, and that was it. So
are they saying that they don't think that the split is a rumor?
Oh, the split,
or no, it's happening for sure?
The split is a fact.
Okay.
Like, definitely a fact. Not a rumor at all, but they're saying maybe it wasn't all done correctly, possibly. Or for some reason, or like the details are sparse, but people are just assuming. It doesn't even say they're under investigation because of the split, but people are assuming because the investigation came directly after the split,
that it has
one
to be
thing
about
leads to
that.
another, sort of, is what they're thinking about. Well,
they're inferring.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll find out more news in the future, but it deserves being talked about, where a lot of these big companies are getting the crap kicked out of them for one way or another. And we can only hope it ends up being a good thing at the end of the day, where games, the quality of games only improves, as for one reason or another.
It's funny, because I really feel like we don't need big studios like we did in the past.
There's a thing. Money is a thing. Money is the thing. If you want to
Absolutely.
we'll get to this actually in our main discussion, where money and the cost of visuals and stuff.
Yeah, and I definitely get that. I definitely understand. But I don't feel like they are the powerhouses they used to be. Anybody, I could go out and start working on a game tonight and finish it in 6 months and put the game out on my own, and who knows, it could become the next Minecraft.
You're right.
That happened with Minecraft.
I will agree and disagree, though. You can go home and
Axiom Verge.
You can go home and make a game tonight. You cannot go home and make Overwatch. You cannot go home and make Assassin's Creed.
That's true.
There's a great financial and just resource intensive investment in that.
But the success of something that started out really small could lead to bigger and better things.
Yes, exactly.
So you don't necessarily have to have the backing of a major studio anymore.
No.
You could create these things yourself. And yes, you're going to have to start small. You have to start small, but you could end up in a position like that. If you want to make
one of the thousands of not good indie puzzle platformers out there, yes, you could. I'm saying that because there are hundreds of amazing independent titles, and there are thousands of garbage ones out there.
That's true. I will give you that. That's true.
It's just a flood of the
I'm
same
not
kind of
against
stuff.
Huge studios by any means. Like, I love
you sound
games.
Like it, like Fight the Power.
No, not at all.
Philip K. Dick, Evil Corporations,
I love
Houdini kind of stuff.
I love PKD, but no, they live, consume.
Like detecting a pattern here, guys. Dun, dun,
No. And I definitely love big studios. I would count Blizzard as a big studio. Bungie's a big studio.
Yeah, Blizzard Activision
I love Blizzard games. I love Bungie. So I'm not saying by any means we don't need those studios. I'm just saying sometimes I feel like those studios need to tread carefully.
If anything, this 2018 and now 2019 has proven that with stuff like Bethesda, who has a new scandal every week now. I didn't even put it on here, but have you heard about how there's another?
I haven't, but I feel really bad for Bethesda. I really do. I feel like there is a Bethesda bandwagon, and I understand that they did some stuff that they messed up on. I just feel bad though that now every time they do even the tiniest thing wrong, someone's gonna point it out.
See, that's the problem.
And
See,
it's gonna be a big deal.
A lot of stuff, it's like what you can tell an employee where you do little things in your job not perfect every day. And it slips by if you're doing your job as a whole. But if you do something big wrong and you're under a microscope, everything you do wrong comes out in the light. This newest thing to be quick.
But is that really fair? I feel like that's a little unfair for them.
They did it to themselves.
I know. I just feel bad for them.
Because the newest thing, every Fallout game has had a dev room where it's a resource room that you access via mods that has every item in the game. They found that in 76.
Interesting.
Including items that have yet to be released.
Can people find this room in every game? Like, are you saying, were they not supposed to be able to find this dev room?
No, it's a room. That's what they call it, the dev room, because it's a room where you go that has just all of the items.
Yeah.
Like pots and pans and toilets and guns and outfits.
So this hasn't been found in any other game?
Yeah. It's in every Fallout game, pretty much. 3, 4, they all have this room that you can teleport to that has all the stuff. You can't get there you have to get there by glitching or modding. But it's there.
Oh, okay,
it's there in every game.
Because I'm like, how have I never heard of this? Okay.
But so you go there, and one of the big things is there are items in that room that have yet to be released. So there are items that are done that they're expecting to pay for later.
Yeah, but that's nothing new.
I know, it's still bad.
Season passes and buying DLC has always been a thing.
Of course, but also the people that have announced that you can find this room were banned. They're like, hey, we found this room that you can get into. Maybe that's not good. Banned from the game.
Oh no.
So that is the newest thing.
Oh, no.
We'll move past, but just like every week, Bethesda, it's the game that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
And not because it's good. It's just
That's terrible.
And I'm the kind of person who loves to just sit here and watch the crap hit the fan.
I mean, to be fair though, they did do something that they weren't supposed to do. So,
It's okay.
banning I think is a bit harsh, but I guess I can kind of understand.
Yeah.
I feel like they're just trying to stir the pot.
At this point,
I'd ban you too.
It feels like they're keeping attention on their game in the only way they can by pointing out how bad it is. But anyways, we'll move on. The last thing I had in news was just to reiterate, and we talked about this last show because it was the most anticipated games of 2019. But to me, this next 3 months, there is going to be just a flood, an inundation, a biblical plague of games. And it could be the same way every year, but for me specifically, the games that I want to buy and like I'm going to have to pay for, holy crap, man. There's a lot of stuff coming out.
And you know what's funny? Because when you were saying that, I started thinking about it and I was like, what's coming out? I feel like nothing's coming out. And then I saw the list and I was like, holy cow,
I made a
lot
list,
of stuff is
and
coming
this is
out.
not the small, cheap, like either the indies or the anime games.
Yeah.
These are like the big $50, $60 titles. There might be some anime stuff on here, but it's, the large, like I didn't put, any of like the JRPGs of weirdness. Like these are big things that you would see pushed. So in the next 3 months, we have Ace Combat, Resident Evil 2, No More Heroes, Kingdom Hearts 3, Jump Force, Metro Exodus, Far Cry New Dawn, Anthem, Dead or Alive 6, Left Alive, Devil May Cry 5, Division 2, Yoshi's Crafted World, and Sekiro Shadows Die Twice.
That Yoshi's Crafted World is sneaking up on me. I can't believe it's already coming out. That's in March, right?
There's so much. And these are games we haven't talked about. Like Metro looks amazing. No More Heroes doesn't look to me amazing, but I like the other two, so I'll play it.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to play that one too.
Kingdom Hearts 3 we've talked about. Jump Force we talked about. Far Cry New Dawn, which is Far Cry post-apocalyptic. Yes, please take my money.
That sounds amazing.
Dead or Alive 6
is that an
Dead or Alive 6.
expansion? Is that like like Blood Dragon?
It's $50, so it's not full price.
Oh, okay.
But it's a standalone thing. So it's kind of like the caveman Far Cry. What was it called?
Primal.
Yeah, that one. It's like that.
Primal.
Left Alive, which I've got to say I'm not very thrilled for. Like I'm going to get because it's a robot game. It's a survival-ish third-person survival shooter that takes place in the Front Mission universe. So it's going to be mecha, but it's not going to be focused on mecha. So of course that's a wasted opportunity. But
Oh my god.
that looks cool. Devil May Cry 5, of course. Division 2, of course. Yoshi's Crafted World and Sekiro. And I feel like I've missed someone. Like Ace Combat 7 finally coming out the same day as Resident Evil 2, which is this week, coming up. It's gonna be a lot, and there's stuff in the middle that I haven't talked about. Like I have a lot, and this leads into our question of the show, guys. How long is your gaming backlog? How large is it? How screwed are you? I can say personally, OMG. I have a rule. I only buy games that I will play, and or
Eventually?
yeah, eventually yes, or that display. Like I will not buy anything and throw it in a closet or stick it in a drawer. If I can't either be playing it immediately or have it on display to look cool, I don't get it. And that's kind of, it doesn't keep me out of trouble. It keeps me out of poverty.
Yes. I feel like that makes perfect sense because you can kind of, like with me, I had to get to a point where I was like, okay, I'm only going to buy hardback books, you know, because my book collection was so huge. And
I had to help you get rid of some of it.
yes. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to get rid of all of my paperbacks, the ones that are my favorite, unless it was like super important to me and really sentimental, a book that I had from
privy to this because
childhood.
I had to help her move.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Then I would definitely keep that. But if it wasn't important to me or if I really liked it, I would tell myself, okay, I'll put it on the list. I'll find a hardback version. I'm only going to have hardback books from now on.
Yeah.
And it keeps things sane.
It keeps the flood in check. Like has anyone ever seen, or you've either played Halo or seen Akira with just the mass of like flesh and death? That's the books and games. It just kind of goes you know, God help me! Too many video games.
I feel like this is true. I'm gonna be real. I have some games that are sitting on my shelf that I have not even opened, which is just terrible.
Me too. It's
so
terrible. Now, I do have just. It's become a stack of Vita games I haven't even touched yet. And it's terrible because now I take my Switch everywhere instead of the Vita.
Yeah.
So the games that would get chipped away on Vita have been pushed to the side because now there's a stack of games I have to chip away on my Switch. Because it's horrible because the games, like, okay. This goes
so
into.
sorry.
Oh, I forgot to mention this on Now. It works for Now Playing and Now. So I also have Tales of Vesperia. And I've gotten as far as the main menu. I've made a conscious effort to play that game 4 or 5 times and not got past the main menu.
What have you been playing?
Oh, well, that, and then I picked up a physical copy of Sonic Mania and started playing that again.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember.
It's terrible. And then all these RPGs, like I've put 250 hours in a Xenoblade now, but I really, like, I haven't finished, oh my God, I can't remember the name of the damn game now. Really good game. Like, it's a phenomenal game. RPG, Switch, Square, pixel art. Help me out here. Special edition was a book. Like a pop-up book.
Octopath.
Thank you. I haven't finished that yet. And it's so good. But it's been sitting on my shelf like, I'm going to get around to you one day. Ooh, look, something else. It's horrible.
But I think you opt for the things that take less time.
Yeah.
You know, because that's kind of our lives. It's really hard to find time to play games.
I enjoy the more fulfilling, long kind of story things. Like when Anthem comes out, I'm going to be stuck, just squarely in Anthem's ballpark for a long time. I've told before where they're going to have to try really hard to make me hate that game. Because I've seen gameplay. I've seen more gameplay now. They're posting more every day. And it's like power armor, explosions, and gear. I'm good. It's like Warframe without crappy character design. It's just because Warframe, everything has this kind of like nasty, like oily. It looks like fat Evangelions. I really hate Warframe. Like I don't get it. I've tried. Like I get. Okay, a lot of people play Warframe. They think it's great.
I've never played it.
I cannot get into it. I don't know why. It's got this really like cool. I'm gonna say quotations cool like parkour movement system where it's all about like momentum and crazy stuff, and it sounds awesome. I just hate it. I just can't. I've got a lot of friends that like to play it, and I'm like, what's wrong with you? Also, it's free to play, which gives me a massive sour taste in my mouth.
See, you probably might like the game
I've tried
or will like the
and
game.
I'm like, this is fine. It just feels off. And I've talked about it before where the controls ain't right. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it. And then, you're like these weird like biomechanoid things, which you'd think I would love, but you just look gross. And I don't like it. It looks like what's his face, the guy who did 5-Star Stories when he lost his mind and started doing Gothic Maid, which like 6 of you are going to understand because it's like hardcore, like fringe mecha stuff. It's where like he had great design stuff where he started doing like the Zeta Gundam and Heavy Metal L game, and then he went like kind of crazy with 5-Star Stories. Then he went like way off the deep end with Gothic Maid, where it's like these weird like anorexic death robots. It looks like that.
Sounds scary.
But it looks like I just don't like it. I've tried to like it several times.
But it's not necessarily the game, it's the design.
It's the design, it's the controls, it's the free to play of it. Like there are parts of the game that are great, but other parts like the controls and everything else, I just don't like it. And
Fair
then
enough.
Anthem looks like Warframe, but with a more I don't want to say realistic, but more of a kind of everything has more of a weight, and you don't just like hop everywhere like a ninja. You have like jets, and you go ka-thunk when you land, not like poof. It's like a ka-thunk, and most of you think I'm crazy. The three of you that get it, I love you. But it's got like that heavy metal, the ka-thunk, man.
Yeah.
It's got the ka-thunk. You get what I mean when I say the ka-thunk?
I get what you mean.
Like it's got that like in the first Pacific Rim, how it was so good because everything had that like slow like ka-chunk, 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 ka-chunk. And then when stuff hit, it felt like it was being hit by a bus. And then Pacific Rim 2 had this like like just crappy, everything was really fast and garbage. Help me out here, Britt. No?
I mean, I get you. I that's just your preference.
Like Pacific Rim 2
I definitely
felt
understand.
Had that Transformers, like nothing has a weight.
So you're
kind of
saying
movement
like
to it.
huge beefy robots
should move
that
like
are,
huge beefy robots.
Realistic. That's your jam.
Yes. Well, even like if it's not realistic, it felt weird. It felt like nothing.
Yeah,
there's
like
no mass to it.
realistic.
Yes, but like it's just the mass thing. It doesn't feel like the Pacific Rim 2 felt like the robots didn't have the mass they should have had. And there's a whole thing in Pacific Rim 2 where what's his face? What's his name again? He was in Star Wars. He was in Attack the Block.
Oh,
Solid actor. I really liked him in Attack the Block.
John Boyega?
Yes.
John Boyega.
I read an interview and I hate him now.
What?
I hate him to death because his interview saying where they wanted to do Pacific Rim 2 was like, that's cool, but he had conditions. And one of them was the robots in Pacific Rim 1 were just too slow. Like, just go.
No.
And I was like, you best. I couldn't. Like, just like the nerd rage just flowed forth like a great sea.
Let the hate flow through you.
And yes, the hate ejected from my eyes.
Oh, no.
Like I had to get new glasses because they launched through the wall, and you can see.
Okay, but I'm offended because I love Del Toro, and I feel like anything Del Toro does is perfect.
Yes.
So
I'm not sure how this became Pacific Rim 1 and 2 from Warham Frame, a bunch of cybernetic pigs.
Oh no.
Also, Battlefleet Gothic 2 comes out in a couple days, which is a Warhammer 40K space combat sim, which I'm going to be playing.
Yes, of course.
But it's cool because you have different fleets. So you have like the Imperials, you have because it's the first game set in I forget what it's called, but the end times 40K, where the Primarch of the Ultramarines has awoken. So Gilliman has awoken and he's leading the Imperium on this great crusade, and the Warp Storm has cut all of the galactic map in half, and like the stuff has hit the fan. It's like what I've always wanted with the 40K, where it's like 40K was always on the hinge of people dying, where anyone who's played anything Warhammer 40K, so like Fire Warrior or Dawn of War or Space Marine, where people are gonna, yes, I know. Sorry, Bert's like, shut up, we'll take a break. I'll stop them by, but it looks cool. So Warhammer has some of the best lore ever if you like robots and giant power armor and everything. But so Anthem, yay. So gaming backlog. Britt, have you answered that question?
Yes.
It's big.
Now, I don't know what I have that I haven't, but I know
That's the best part.
But I know that there is stuff on my shelf that I have looked at
Can I just say?
and been like, hey, that's totally not open.
I was telling you about the outline. Oh, good. You were saying, oh, good. It's a nice, quick show.
Yeah.
Oops.
It's not.
Guess how long we've been going?
How long?
About an hour.
Oh, gosh.
We'll make
Sorry,
the other part
David.
fast. Yeah, sorry, David.
But yeah.
But so tell us, folks, how long, or how large, I say how long, like you have a list you write, like on a typewriter?
Do you remember what it is? Because thinking about it now, I know that I do have stuff on my shelf that I'm like, I need to get to that, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, tell us, how big is your gaming backlog? Let us know.
Yes.
You can send us an email at podcast@gameovervideogames.com, or you can comment on our new social media that we have. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. You're going to see in the commercial that comes up right after this where those are. It's going to be great, though, so let us know. That means we're going to take a break, right?
Yes.
We're taking a break, guys. We'll be back. Bye. Wait, hold on.
Hey, Matt, did you hear about the new thing the kids are posting to nowadays?
Of course not. I don't go outside and have no friends.
Instabook?
The Face Station?
Snapstagram?
Squid Bucket.
It doesn't matter. Game Over Podcast has one.
What?
An Instagram and a Facebook.
Cool. What do those do?
We'll post all kinds of adventures and shenanigans.
That's cool, I guess.
So you should give us a follow.
What's the address?
I have no idea, but it's on the screen.
Hey, neat. You should check it out. I don't really know what it is, though.
We post pictures and stuff.
What, buckets?
Sure.
Cool.
And for those of you not looking at a screen, give us a follow on Instagram at GameOvercast and on Facebook, GameOvercast.usa.
Hello and welcome back
Welcome.
to Game Overcast.
I needed that break. I had to rub my eyes.
Brittany needed a break because she's bored.
No, I'm not bored. Just my eyes are getting really puffy. I don't know why.
Also, this just in, the other camera wasn't recording when I got there, so either it wasn't recording at all, even though I hit the record button, or it stopped. It was recording again when I walked away, but I have no way of knowing if it's recording or not. So there could just be one camera. There might be like 10 seconds of other camera. I don't know. We'll find out when I edit it. Matt, are there two cameras? Cool, thanks.
I don't know. I put on some light makeup today, and I think it's making my eyes puffy for some weird reason. I don't know.
Was it puffy
Maybe
makeup?
I'm having like some kind of
That popcorn spread?
allergic reaction.
Oh, God.
I don't know. But I was like, oh,
Well,
my eyes are watering.
We'll try to
rub my
truck through
eyes.
this then and get it over with. This was actually just my thing as a quick chat. We don't have lists. We don't have anything like that.
Yeah, this one was really interesting. We sat and we thought about it, and we figured this would make a good topic, but we didn't. It's no lists are involved.
It popped into my head for
Yeah.
two reasons. I was watching you play Zelda Breath of the Wild
Yes.
with its frame drops, and it's
oh my God, it's not that bad.
okay. That's fine. We'll agree to disagree.
Yes.
And it's simplistic but beautiful visuals, and it's
Yes,
popping.
absolutely.
But we'll talk about it later. And I also last night watched Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within. Who remembers that movie? Wow.
I remember that song being really good. It's the song that plays
one
when
from
the credits roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
But that prompted me to make this our
Excuse
topic
me.
for the show. Next month is going to be our big Kingdom Hearts show, obviously, but this one is just going to be something simple.
Kingdom Hearts. Yeah,
What's
yeah,
happening? What's happening? I don't know.
You
I
know,
only played the
I'm-
first two.
Okay, but I'm really curious. We were talking about this earlier. Sorry to branch off, but this is the
We're
first
used to it.
time. So they released the story so far
Yes.
for the PlayStation, which has all of the, I call them spin-off titles, but you know,
They're
I don't
spin-offs.
know.
They're,
I feel
they're
like
not spin-offs, as people argue with me.
I know people will definitely argue, but I personally feel like they're spin-offs. You can put me in my place if you want to, but that's how I feel.
They're not direct sequels, so
Yeah, you have
unless
Kingdom
it's a
Hearts
prequel,
1.
it's a spin-off.
You have Kingdom Hearts 2, and then we're going to have Kingdom Hearts 3. So in my personal opinion, they're spin-offs. There's nothing wrong with that. I played the 3DS one because we were talking about it because you were like, hey, haven't you played that one? And I was like, yeah, I did. And I liked it. I thought it was pretty good, but definitely nowhere near as much as I liked 1, 2.
Yeah.
But anyway, I am so curious what Xbox people are going to do. There has to be some type of recap. And
Maybe.
I was talking to Andy about this. There's no way. I feel like they have to make the game so if you play Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 and that's it, you'll be fine. That I mean,
no.
you don't think
They
so?
don't, they don't care. They don't have to do anything.
You don't think so?
No.
Because I feel like what
At
are
this
Xbox
point-
people going to do?
at-
Xbox didn't even get the story so far.
At this point, Kingdom Hearts 2 came out almost 15 years ago.
Yeah.
They don't care.
But that's another thing too. It came out so long ago, so you actually legitimately do have people. I talked to somebody the other day that was like, "I've never heard of Kingdom Hearts," and I was so surprised.
It's like, well, yeah. I mean, if you've been an Xbox person your whole life, there's never been a Kingdom Hearts game.
yeah. So
But also, how have you not? If you
I know.
play games and you haven't heard of Kingdom Hearts, you're either the guy who only plays Madden and Call of Duty, or you have a wonderful life under the rock, which is fine. You enjoy your life under a rock.
definitely living in a rock, under a rock, in a rock, in a rock. Sorry.
I love the professionalism of people who don't turn off their phones while we're recording.
I'm so sorry.
I mean, you were just 10 for 10 tonight.
I know.
I need to go yawn. I have
Puffy
my phone going
eyes
off.
and-
Good lord.
It was my alarm. Anyway.
But anyway, so back on topic. So it got me thinking about graphics, visuals in video games, and just the progression and the interesting place we find ourselves in now in the world, where things have obviously we've had just this progression of visual fidelity and the kind of the look that we expect as gamers. The kind of the things that's going on. I thought we could just kind of talk about that for a bit, where we would start, historically look at games that kind of pushed the boundaries, that kind of, that took things to the edge of the hardware in the past. So, I mean, let's go like way back. Like, let's think, I can't really think of any things, but like you had, was it, I want to call it Sector 7, but was it Mode 7? Oh God, my gamer cred just went out the window. I haven't thought about that for so long, but the system in let's talk Star Fox. I know about that Super FX chip in SNES. You had really early 3D, and everyone was like, "Look how cool this looks," and how garbage it looked like a month later. Just a bunch
That's
of
not fair.
just a bunch of platonic solids kind of glued together, running at like 2 FPS and everything.
Yeah. Because you definitely have to take the time period into consideration.
Of course.
I feel like Tomb Raider was one of those games.
Yeah, you had Tomb Raider, or just
that looked awesome.
for me, it was I was a 64 kid growing up, so you had the expansion packs, you had the Perfect Darks, and you had the Majora's Masks, and you had the Jet Force Gemini, which just was a visual feast for its time period. And holy crap, does it look terrible now? Like y'all played GoldenEye recently?
Oh man, I could not get through it.
It's bad.
I could
it's
not
real
get through
bad.
it.
I have a hard time playing Mischief Makers just because it's still 3D and it's like, but you had the Final Fantasy games, or a lot of stuff on PS1 with the cutscenes, the Resident Evils and the Xenogears, just pushing visuals where it's like, my God, this is like a movie. Like you said it all the time. It's like it's like we're watching a movie.
Yeah.
And then you had the the GameCube and the Xbox and the PS2 come out where you have the Final Fantasy. I get Final Fantasies obviously because smushy. People apparently are smashing their head against the wall behind us.
Apparently, but okay.
Oh my goodness!
Or stomping on their dance party on the roof.
That's right, exactly. But wasn't it? It was around PS2 time that when did Spirits Within come out? Was it 2000?
Yeah. I want to say that it was around here. I'm going to look it up real fast, but I want to say that it was around that era.
Yeah, but just highlighting some stuff here. So you had that. I remember specifically when the 360 and PS3 came out, I rushed out to buy Gears because Gears was like, oh, look how brown everything is.
2001.
2001. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So everything was super but shiny, and they had the facial expressions and all the blood and the guts and everything. And now Gears 1 don't look so hot no more.
Yeah.
I forgot PS2. One of my favorite games of all time. Shout out to Colossus. Just these glorious, big, open, empty, but open spaces. It just looked fantastic. But I think it's cool that all of these these kind of like visually genre-defining games, and how it's just like movies where these wonderful CG effects. They don't hold up like 2 or 3 years later. Like we were watching Pacific Rim on 4K because I have a problem. Man, that looks like crap. Like some movies should not be in 4K because you can see exactly how fake it is.
And
it ain't
I
good.
do not care. I love that movie because
no, it's great.
I love
It
Del
looks
Toro.
great.
And I complain a lot about CG. And when we've talked about movies, that we both love practical effects and we love puppets. I cannot wait for The Dark Crystal. The Dark Crystal is going to be phenomenal because they're actually using puppets.
I hope it's better than the movie. We talked about this. The movie had a beautiful setting, amazing music, great puppets. The movie itself wasn't all that good.
Calm thyself.
I'm perfectly calm.
Calm thyself.
It wasn't Labyrinth. It had a distinct lack of the Bowie.
See, and this is funny because with you, it's either one or the other. You can't,
no.
There's enough love and enough room in my heart for both.
The reason I mentioned this,
But
though,
for you,
is
it's
because
one or the other.
when Jim Henson was thinking about making Labyrinth, he was like, hey, let's take something like Dark Crystal, but make it successful.
Hey, did you know that Jim Henson said that the Dark Crystal was his greatest achievement?
Really?
Yes.
That's good for him.
He actually said that.
I mean,
he believed that.
Technically, with all just the work and the puppets, it's phenomenal.
It's beautiful.
It's not
and
a
the
good
soundtrack is beautiful.
It's not a good
movie. Oh
movie.
my God, the movie is so good.
I don't think so.
I'm a Gelfling.
I'm not a fan of the story. Feels kind of bleh. Like it's weird because it has
Gelfling.
great characters and it's visually impressive. The music's really great. I just don't think it all fits together very well.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like it feels kind of like just sort of like it's missing chunks of plot and like some of the scenes are missing. It's like they forgot to do some stuff because it's all puppets and everything.
I love it.
It's
I
Dark
love
Crystal's
it.
unique in that I enjoy it a lot just because of what it is.
Yeah,
But when I think
of
of it
course.
as a film, as a story, it's not very good.
But it's funny that we were talking about stuff in 4K because I own Labyrinth and the Dark Crystal in 4K, and those are 30 years old,
Yep,
if
those
not a
hold up
little
real
bit
well
more.
'cause it's real.
And they look amazing in 4K.
I'm gonna drag it back onto video games
Yes, I'm so
because
sorry.
in the case of video games, they don't have that luxury of this video game is
Yes.
real.
Yeah, for
Where
sure.
this is where we plugged
Definitely.
wires into Jim and made him walk along. Just go,
I mean, they do motion capping, which would be the closest
yes,
thing.
which
but
definitely helps as far as
Yeah.
the motion stuff. But
for sure.
I just think it's interesting. We're talking about we have had since consoles have been a thing, but specifically in the past few generations, just the kind of like technological arms race we've seen between Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo off in the corner, like whatever, bro, we'll play on a toaster.
Hey, it works.
Well, it's interesting because you'll have a lot of visual, looks like Nintendo games. Like so, we can think about the Wii or the GameCube. Or the Wii U or the Switch or anything. The GameCube was actually pretty good, but Otherwise, they've always been inferior technologically to their competition. Like in some cases, radically inferior to them. Like the Wii U could technically be competition for the PS4 and the Xbox One because it was still before the Switch came out. That was its thing. Good God, it's not even close. Even now with the Switch, where the only games that are coming out for the Switch are games like Doom and Wolfenstein and Ark, which have been just gutted so badly. They run so poorly because the Switch just can't physically handle. I know, and I think I was mentioning on the show before, where Ark to load a map, it takes 5 minutes.
Ouch. Well, see, I haven't tried Ark or Doom, so I can't speak for that, but I feel like Zelda runs fine.
Well, Zelda, but also that's Nintendo. Nintendo's always had a way of making the most of their hardware.
Yeah.
While everyone
you're
else
just,
is kind of like
third-party stuff. Yeah.
Because look at, Mario Sunshine, look at Mario Galaxy, look at, Skyward Sword was kind of crappy, but that's just because the whole game wasn't very good. But anyways, Breath of the Wild, for all of its
Midna is best girl.
glaring technical problems, frame drops everywhere in docked mode. But other than that, it's a very pretty game. And overall, it's not visually impressive necessarily, where it doesn't have like super high poly count. It's not crazy, like the resolution's crap, but artistically it's there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. And it's funny because I feel like where I stand on this, and a lot of people, because we've talked about it in the past before, just not super, super in depth. But I personally do not care what the game looks like as long as it's a really good game. I will play anything. If it's an indie game, if it's a AAA game, if it's whatever, a cell phone game, I don't care. As long as I enjoy the game, that's what it's all about. It's about entertainment. It's about having fun. It's about taking your mind off your wisdom teeth.
You are getting way ahead of me here. Like you're summing up before we're done with the list.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
But, no, that's fine. But all that makes sense.
No, but yeah, I'm definitely like, I love, if it's fun, great.
To a degree. I will argue with you a bit, but I'll get there.
Okay.
Something else I've noticed, and once again, this is just me speculating. As usual, I'm probably entirely wrong, and that's okay. Be sure to let me know at podcast@gameovervideogames.com, or on social media, or on the YouTube channel, or if you want to comment and like and subscribe. Anyways,
That would be cool.
while telling me you're wrong, you can like and subscribe. But so we have, just in the past, I'd say decade, this obsession with numbers and stats where, this game on PS3 runs at this FPS, but at this resolution with like the 12.6 gigaquads. And, I'm making up these numbers, but, where this, it's fake 4K and is this real 4K? And then you have the beast in the dark that is PC gaming, where it can be heavily performance-based, where people can build their own monster rigs like me, where I specifically build for performance and not for visual fidelity, but it kind of goes hand in hand. But I'd rather a game run perfectly than look perfect. But we'll get to that. Where did this come from? Because I subscribed to video game publications since I could read. When I was, in elementary school, I was getting Nintendo Power and, EGM and Ultra Game Players and like 2 or 3 other magazines that have been gone for like 20 years. I remember reading these reviews, and it really wasn't a matter of this game runs really well. It's like, hey, this game exists. Woo!
It's really great. Yeah. I feel like that's been something that's been going on maybe for only the past decade or
That's
so.
what I mean. Like the past 10 years, I've seen like an up tilt.
But I kind of feel like the market or they're taking it, like these companies, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, are taking this stuff, so they're getting so competitive.
It's become a gigantic business now.
Yeah,
also.
and it's like, I feel like with most people will be like us, where they will own every console if there's stuff that they want to play on that console. But Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo are not treating it as such. They're treating it like, no, you don't want their console, you want ours.
It's better.
Because it's better, and this is why.
You do have that now, where our console is the most. It sounds like a certain
Ours
company.
is the most powerful.
The most powerful console on the planet. But there aren't. Oh, I forgot to list it on there. Crackdown's also coming out. My bad. Sorry, Xbox. You know what's funny is I was just looking at the list of games coming out for PS4 and Switch, because nothing comes out for Xbox. Oh!
Shots fired.
But specifically, Xbox is the poster example of they do have the most most powerful console on the market, I have no reason to turn it on.
Yeah.
Because there are
But
no
is it
exclusives
really
to play
that
for.
much of a difference? I mean, I feel like if you have the exclusives like Sony does, and it still looks beautiful because, you know, a PlayStation Pro playing games on that, it looks gorgeous on your 4K
that
TV.
is the proof being in the proverbial pudding. I just wanted to say a lot of P words there because it was great. But it is a matter of the PS4 Pro being slightly less powerful than the Xbox One X. All these freaking names.
But it's
there's no
still-
games, so who cares? You
Yeah.
can play Cuphead in 4K. Booyah.
And I feel like it's definitely, I feel like Sony and Microsoft for the past 2 years have definitely been outperforming the Xbox.
Sony and Microsoft have been both.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sony, I'm so sorry. Sony and Nintendo is what I meant.
Yes.
Is outperforming Microsoft's
Not
Xbox.
on a basis of hardware strength, but just sales for sure. Xbox is
Yeah.
just being kicked to the curb.
Absolutely. Which goes to show that I think most people really don't care.
Yeah, you do. You definitely have those fanboys who are like, I'm playing everything on my Xbox One X because it's the best console. I'm like, enjoy playing a third of the games, bruh. And this is coming to me once again. I own all 3 consoles.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm nothing but disappointed in Microsoft showing this generation. And I think they know it. They know they've dropped the ball. That's why they're spending every time you see something from them, they're talking about next generation. All the
Yes.
studios they're buying up because next generation. They're gonna crush Sony.
I think they're gonna kill
I've
it.
talked before. They're
gonna kill
gonna
it.
break Sony's back next generation.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
You
They're
think
gonna
they're
kill
just going to go back and forth every
Yep,
generation?
I do believe so.
Probably.
You know, or a studio gets a big head and they make a mistake. So you had Xbox 360 just more or less trounced PS3. Like PS3 had
Oh,
a
yeah.
following, and it wasn't as bad as the
Absolutely.
Xbox One. It wasn't being beat that badly because it actually had games. But you know, Sony was definitely in a bad way where their console was
Yeah.
too expensive, and you know the games didn't run as well on the PS3. And then you had Xbox who got really big head saying, "Hey, no used games, always online, must have a Connect."
I think what helped Sony is they won the HD thing, the Blu-ray war.
The Blu-ray also. Well, see, they won
so-
the Blu-ray thing with the 360 also. Don't forget, PS3 had Blu-ray.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
PS3 had
So that
Blu-ray,
helped them
and I
maintain,
feel
is
like
what
that
you
helped them
mean.
maintain.
Yeah.
That helped keep them afloat.
I
Because
would agree.
if HD DVD is that what it was called?
Yep.
If that had caught on,
It would have been even worse for them, I think.
it would have been even
Yeah,
worse.
because the PS3s were cheap Blu-ray players at the time also.
Absolutely.
Good point, yes. And then, you know, for Xbox One, you know, they had the thing where there were people immediately just kind of like step to the right. That day at E3, they made a catastrophic mistake. You know, it's kind of like Diablo Immortal, where it's like there's some things you just don't do. And you get full of yourself and you think they're going to accept anything.
I understand.
And people accept anything.
I am curious. I wonder how things would have gone sales wise if Microsoft hadn't messed up at that E3. Because I think
It
they
would have been
rubbed
real
people the
different,
wrong
I
way.
bet.
Sony took advantage of the
Oh,
fact that they
yeah.
rubbed people the
Oh,
wrong way.
yeah.
They were ready for it. And I feel like that did kind of contribute to Sony's success this time around. And I wonder, I mean, not that the Xbox isn't successful or isn't, is a bad console, because it's not.
It's
but-
a fine console. It just
Yeah.
you have, to me, you have no reason to play on it unless you are desperate for the absolute peak performance. And if you are, you should be playing on PC.
Yeah. But just like with the last generation, 360 was the clear winner between the two, even though,
Yeah.
Sony still held their own. 360 was clearly the
Yeah,
winner.
just like
And I feel like this
PS4
time
definitely
around,
is now.
PS4 dominates.
Yeah, like Nintendo is just in its own category. They always have been, especially now with the hybrid console.
I feel like, yes, they have been in their own category, except for this generation.
Well, even in this generation, it's different. Their console, it has 75% different game library on it. Also, it's a matter of Xbox and Sony or Microsoft or whatever, PlayStation, Jim and Xbox.
Right? It's easy to mix them up. Sorry.
They they have their own exclusives. Well, Sony has exclusives. Waka waka. Oh man, we were just beating up. I feel so bad.
You're such a monster.
It's just the truth. Did you know that according to Metacritic, there wasn't a single positive reviewed Xbox One exclusive all in the whole of 2018?
Are you going to say because there wasn't an Xbox One
I
exclusive?
was going to, yeah. No. Well, no, because there was Sea of Thieves and there was Forza, but that's it.
Yeah.
Like, damn. But anyways, you have
thought
those
Forza
two
was fine.
consoles that have their own exclusives, but then they have the huge stable of third-party games that mostly keeps them going.
Yeah.
If you only had first-party games like Nintendo used to back in the day, you have a very dry release period. And even the Switch even now still has that issue to a degree where there's a lot less coming out. Like if you look at the list of games coming out in 2019 for the Switch compared to the PS4 or even the Xbox One, significantly less. But That's why I say they're kind of their own beast. They're their own animal where they aren't. Nintendo specifically said they don't want to compete.
I understand, but what's crazy is they kind of are. I feel
Overall
like
sales,
this
they're getting there.
past holiday, it was all about Sony and Nintendo.
Oh yeah, by far, easily, yeah.
And so I feel like they are really holding their own.
Mm-hmm. But we'll see what happens next gen. For whatever reason, like I've spoken before, where I think that Sony is beginning to shoot themselves in the foot. With the phantom censorship and the stepping out of E3, and it feels like they're doing the same thing Xbox did, where they're getting a big head.
The stepping out of E3 thing does kind of concern me, but I feel like if they're using that to work on bigger and better things, it's not a problem.
We could hope so.
And then if we can have like little, how Nintendo hasn't shown up to an E3 for years.
This is true.
So if they do
but
like
that's
a little,
Nintendo.
like they do Nintendo Direct, so if Sony could do the equivalent of that, then I feel like it would be
I
fine.
really hope they don't. Every time Sony tries to copy Nintendo, it's a failure. Almost every time, even if it's better. Like the PlayStation Move was
I'm
a
not
1,000
saying,
times better than the Wii.
I don't want them to repeat that, but like this next year, if they're not going to show up at E3, great. But can we get a little something later that's the equivalent of like a Nintendo
This
Direct?
E3 is going to suck now that I think about it. Like, my God. Oh, well, we'll get to that. But
I think it's funny that they are kind of, I don't know.
yeah. But things to think about.
I lost my train of thought.
That brings me to my next point, which is that dirty, filthy, rotten E word. Entitlements. Entitled. You hear this as an insult all the time. Where it's like, oh, those horrible entitled gamers expecting this, expecting that. And it's true.
And that's true. And some act like
to a
such.
degree. And this is where I will say, I'll play anything if it's good, and I will disagree in that I hold AAA studios like EA and Bethesda, I've said this before, to a standard. I'm giving you this much money, I expect this much game.
And that makes sense. From a consumer perspective, it does make sense. You are paying for a service, you are paying for a good.
Yes.
So you expect that.
One would say you are entitled to the product you pay for.
So I definitely understand. I feel like when it's taken a step too far is when it becomes a problem.
Yes, of course.
And we live in a society where it is taken a step too far always.
Like, we live in a society where it is the norm in everything.
And it's ripped
apart. Where your opinion matters more than mine, and I'm going to go on Twitter to prove it.
And I have to have an opinion.
Yep.
And
you have to listen to it.
And you have to hear it. Yeah.
And my opinion's going to change the world, but not yours. Screw your opinion. I'm not going to take sides, but it's true.
And there's I definitely
if you don't have my opinion, I'm going to ban your game from the Video Game Awards. Guess what game that was, kids? I'm not going to say what it is, but you know.
And so sometimes I think it is taken a step too far. Yes, I believe that everybody does have a voice. And yes, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be heard, or if anybody's willing to listen, like, thank you so much for listening to our opinions.
Yeah.
That means a lot to us.
You crazy people. I love you.
It's crazy. I can't believe it, but thank you. Yeah. So that's awesome. I appreciate even if there's one person that's willing to listen to me speak. But
But we also endorse differing opinions, and just because your opinion's different doesn't mean I'm going to say you can't speak your opinion. I'm going to have it banned from, like, I'm just going to have a big black bar right here for the show.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand. And sometimes I think it turns into less about specific products and trying to change those products for the better. It becomes more about, I just want attention.
Yep. I don't like it. That way none of you can like it.
And so I feel like that's when we're reaching a little bit of
that's when entitled becomes a dirty word. Where it's like you're not entitled to change my experience. You're not. You can tell me your opinion, and I will gladly listen to it, and then tell you to shut up. No, no, but I mean, at the end of the day, that should be the way it works. Is where you can have your opinion, I can have mine. We can have a conversation and come to a agreement, a compromise. There's things that humans do. As opposed to saying that you will listen to me regardless of what you think, and if not, then that makes you the Emperor Palpatine.
I don't think that's always the case. I feel like that's a very black and white way to look at things.
You don't think that everything should be able to be? It won't be, but should be solved by conversation?
I don't think that. No, I totally agree with that. But I don't think that people always take it to that extreme.
Of course not. But the loud ones that you always see are the ones that do, is what I'm saying. It's not. It's most people aren't that stupid. It's the crazy loud ones, and those the minority of any, and this can be taken into politics and to any hobby. Literally, any group has its radicals, and the radicals are always going to be the ones, while the smallest group are going to be the squeakiest wheel that gets the grease, and that's just the way it works. And the only way to combat that is to be a squeaky wheel yourself, so you become the villain, and it sucks. It's bad. And somehow this relates to video games, I promise. And, I mean, it does, because the video game hobby has a lot of squeaky wheels, both good and bad. Where personally, in my opinion.
But I feel like if we. Good one. I see what you did there. But I personally feel like if they are trying to get the ball rolling to make things better for the next generation, if they want to be so competitive, Sony and Microsoft, Nintendo, whoever, if you want to be like super competitive and you want to compare yourselves to each other,
competition's great.
Competition is really good, and I don't for the better of consoles for next generation and stuff, I feel like that's a good thing. That's
definitely
that's not a bad thing.
And and barring if everything goes to crap, everyone just go on to PC and Steam and the Epic Game Store and Origin. There's lots of competition there too, so it'll be fine.
I feel like I'm having a hard time getting all my words out.
Wisdom teeth.
No.
Wisdom.
See, it's in the back of my mind. I'm telling you.
We're almost done. This brings me, I actually have just a series of points where this is my general belief of performance over perfection, where I think we can all agree, most of us rational people can agree, that we'd rather have a game run right than look as shiny as possible. Not saying I don't want every game to have the same pixel art stuff that you see never. I want games to look good. I want things to have The Witcher 3, or I want them to look like Horizon Zero Dawn or Anthem. I want to be dazzled. I really do. Everyone wants to have that popcorn feeling, that ooh,
Yeah, definitely.
But not at the expense of the performance. I would rather have stronger and better consoles give me a better experience. I want to have stable frame rates. It doesn't have to be 60. It doesn't have to be 144. It'd be nice, but if it can hover at 60 and instead of being sporadic at 144, that's great.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd take that. That's where I want to see things moving forward. I'd obviously want to see visual fidelity goat up. It's coming to me now.
Right.
But we're never
It's
gonna.
contagious.
Yeah, we'll never see the jump that we saw from PS1 to PS2 to we're never gonna see that jump again.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be that big again. It's gonna be little tiny details. But we want that jump. We want higher resolutions. We want 8K graphics, and there's a point where it's financially not possible. Where if you don't want to spend $600 on the console, you ain't gonna get it, and you can't demand it of this hardware, because the PS4 and Xbox One are mid to low range PCs. There's only so much they can do, even without running all the crap that you'd have in a Windows operating system. It's just the way it goes. So we need to kind of pick our battles here.
Yeah, for sure.
And temper expectations, where you can always expect the game you pay for to work and to have what was advertised. So in Anthem, I'm expecting to be a guy in power armor that can fly and collect gear and do really cool Diablo 3 RPG stuff. That's it. And not be bogged down by loot boxes also. They've already said that, microtransactions aren't, but
it's EA, right?
Yeah, well, it's EA, but they've said that it's only going to be for, your armor's paint jobs and specifically visual things.
Yeah, I like that. That's
which
actually
is fine.
how it should be.
I could even pay for that. I don't mind.
That's a nice balance.
If it stays that way, that's what I expect. Now, if I buy the game and it doesn't work, or half the game's not there, that's my expectations being, not fulfilled, and I wasn't getting my money's worth. Yeah. Now, if I'm going to buy the game and expect it to play itself for me, and for the robot to come out and sing me to sleep and be upset and go on Facebook that the robot didn't actually do that, that's unrealistic expectations. It would be nice if you want to do that. I'll just just lay in your arms, be like, but it's not going to happen. So I think that's the difference. Or as my next point here, the great balance. Everything's got to have balance, man.
Seriously.
You can't have a world full of nothing but giant robots. You can't.
Wow.
Mostly.
That's surprising.
85%.
Hearing that from you.
I mean, because realistically, you need robots, but you also need food.
This is true.
See? You see, Dave? So robots and donuts.
More like robots and ramen.
Unless they're ramen. That was a great shirt. There's a ramen bot shirt out there where it's like an old like Toku style Power Ranger robot eating a bowl of ramen.
That's
it's
amazing.
so great.
That's amazing.
But any final words here? Is this take on graphics is pretty is good.
No,
Performance
yeah,
is
mean,
better.
I appreciate that they have this little race going on. It's only going to better our gaming platforms and our gaming in general. So I think that that's really amazing. But to me, ultimately, as long as you have great games,
We'll
I'm
play your
fine.
great games.
I'll play your great games.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be the most beautiful game in the whole wide world.
It would help.
I mean, it's awesome if you can have both.
But you can have the Wind Wakers and the Ashens.
Yes. Oh my God, Wind Waker is gorgeous. It's my favorite.
It's glorious.
So beautiful.
And they're saying on the PS5, there's rumors of it being just, dedicated true 4K, 60 FPS, like just massive. Like it's going to have like exhaust tubes on the freaking thing here and be crazy. But, that'll be nice. But, make my games good. Maybe don't censor the crap out of them. And, give me what I pay for. That's all. And I'd be a happy Matt.
I can dig it.
More robots.
I can dig it.
Much more robots. But no, I think that's it. I think we are ripe to get on going and hit the road. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to respond, maybe answer our question of the show: how large is your gaming backlog? Maybe have differing opinions. Think that if the game isn't pretty, you won't touch it. Let us know at podcast@gameovervideogames.com. That's what, Brent?
Podcast@gameovervideogames.com.
Fantastic. Or leave us a comment on the YouTube channel after you've liked and followed and subscribed and hit the bell and what else do you have to do on the YouTube channel? Submit a DNA strand and. Something, whatever, to make it work. Follow us on social media.
And the Insta Snaps.
We
have the Insta Snaps now.
The Snap Crack.
Is that what it's
The
called?
Snap Crack. No, the Flapjack. The face space. Is it face space? Just where you like.
I like the Insta Snaps.
Insta Snaps. Just. No, that's cool. What about I don't know. I'm tired. It's fine.
I know. My eyes are.
Yeah, but just Brit's puffy and I'm tired. I've run out of hot chocolate. I have no more fuel to sustain me. We're gonna get out of here though. Thank you for watching.
Thanks,
I'm
guys.
Matt.
I'm Brittany.
Stay tuned for the next show, which is our big Kingdom Hearts show. Yes. Be nice. Episode 40-1. All right. Good night, everybody. If that camera's still recording, good luck. I doubt it. Probably not. So we'll see you later. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye bye.
Oh my God. I have been holding in that yawn. And I just want to close my eyes and sleep.
Good evening and welcome to Robotcast. Today we talk about the lovely show Space Runaway Ideon, made by Yoshiyuki Tomino. In this show, everybody dies. And I do mean everybody. When the show ends, the universe is literally gone. I don't mean like half the cast dies and some of the cats. I mean you, me, everybody goes. It's an amazing show with a positive message. You should check it out.